Welcome to 2012. If you're watching this in 2030, 2050, by this point YouTube has probably become this antiquated site that every once in a while someone pays attention to, and I'm just hoping this actually gets through to some of the right people. However, if this is 2030 or 2050, by this point you've already elected and celebrated the very first openly gay president. With that being said, this is the issue. This is 2012. As a matter of fact, we just celebrated July 4th yesterday. And while we're on the topic of independence, someone decided that they wanted to share their own freedom and independence. An artist by the name of Frank Ocean, who, if this is 2030 or 2050, has probably gone on to win all types of wonderful awards and Grammys and been celebrated for what he ended up doing just about 48 hours ago. You see, Frank Ocean made a decision that he wanted to share his truth. He came out, as people like to call it, and shared that his very first time falling in love was with a man. Now, if this is 2030, 2050, you're probably like, Ann, what's your point? But you see, in 2012, that's still considered to be taboo. Yes, I know. It probably seems mind-blowing to you that someone actually loving another human being could be strange. If you're a 16-year-old in 2030 watching this, it probably seems extremely befuddling to you that two people loving each other could be considered anything other than a good thing. Well, I'm here to tell you. In 2012, that's exactly what it's still considered. For whatever strange reason, which usually has something to do with insecurity and religion, people still find it to be wrong for two men or two women to love each other. Now, this is the reason why I wanted to create this vlog for Free Your Mind. What exactly is the problem with people sharing and embracing their truth? If when one decides that they are tired of hiding something that is naturally a part of who they are, why is that considered a negative for them to do so? A couple of days ago, a journalist who I greatly respect by the name of Anderson Cooper also decided to do the same thing. Now, most people have stated that it wasn't a surprise to them at all, that they always assumed that he was gay. However, that's just an assumption. He took the time out to share that he is indeed homosexual. With this happening, I'm fairly certain that he opened the door for quite a few men and women in this world to make the decision that they no longer are going to be afraid. I was very proud when reading his statement. I believe it was Andrew Sullivan that he wrote it to, another journalist, and Andrew Sullivan posted it to his website. And while reading it, all I could think was, wow, this was such a classy way to share your truth. No drama, no mess. He simply decided to share with Andrew, this is who I am. For reasons of my own, I've kept it to myself for years, but I understand now that sharing this truth will in no way harm myself as a journalist, and it can help someone. Now, on an even deeper level, when it comes to Frank Ocean, this is a young, black, very well-loved in the music industry, bisexual, man. He made a decision to not say whether he was bisexual or gay, which in the very beginning when talking with one of my friends, I kind of debated back and forth with him about, but in the end, you know what, I love it. Because in this society, we have a thing where we have to put a label on you. And the fact that in that letter, all he stated was the fact that he loved a man, and that is his truth, you know? That should be enough. Do you have to know whether he's gay or bisexual? You decide what it is that you believe he is. He knows what he is. And in sharing his truth, he has saved a life, or many. And that is what meant the most to me. What I loved the most about the letter is that he saved someone. I'm absolutely certain of that. Because in 2030 or in 2050, you have tons of gay people in the hip-hop and R&B community. However, at this point in time, with Frank Ocean making that statement, he becomes the first. There are so many men who people can be sure are probably gay or bisexual in the hip-hop and R&B community. However, he's the first to actually state flat out, I loved a man. He shared that he spent not one but 2 summers with this man, loved him with all of his heart. Now, thankfully, there are a lot of people that have come to his defense, you know? There are a lot of people who have applauded him and have let him know how much he's loved. However, in this society, in 2012, we have a lot of people that are still condemning him as well. And why, you may ask? Earlier, I stated insecurity. I don't believe this to be just an opinion of mine. I believe it to be a fact. For ignorance and insecurity usually is what leads people to speak down on what it is that they don't understand. He loved a man. You know, no matter what your religion, I'm not necessarily certain when at any point in time loving someone was wrong. Let it also be stated that unless he says otherwise, he may not even be Christian. So all of this sin talk and all that other stuff, I always find very funny. I am very proud of Frank Ocean for not paying attention to any of those things. Frank Ocean could have allowed the disgusting, vitriolic negativity from people to put him into a corner and make him not want to come out and share his truth. But he made a decision that this was more important. I don't want to feel as though when writing my music that tons of people listen to and love, I have to hold back a piece of what I am, because for any of us who know, the best albums created usually come from a place where someone's sharing all of who they are, flat out. I'm giving you me, complete, raw in my happiness and my sadness. This is me. And how can one do that if they feel as though they're holding back some of who they are? Some of the greats have passed away having to hold back a part of who they are, and it's unfortunate. They brought us some wonderful music, but one can only imagine what they would have been able to accomplish if they could have shared all of themselves. I say thank you to Anderson Cooper. I say thank you to Frank Ocean. For Anderson, being a white gay male, he hasn't really, and this is not to take away from anything, what he did was extremely brave, but there are lots of older gay men out here who are white, who are completely out. I'll simply go with Neil Patrick Harris and Elton John. We could keep going, but we'll stop right there. They're fine. Frank Ocean, though, what he decided to do as a young black male in the hip-hop community, that takes some balls. Serious balls. If this makes it to anyone in Frank's camp, or Frank himself, I want to say, looking at you directly, I respect you more than you'll ever know. You are far more than just gay, bisexual, or what everyone else would like to call you from this point on. You are a brave man. And your selflessness and making the decision to share your truth will save lives from this day forward. The same way everyone celebrated Barack Obama for being the very first black president, the history books will show that you made such a huge impact in just this Tumbler post that you posted. It may seem so small to people right now, but in the large scheme of things, it's going to make a huge difference. Some young black girl, some young black boy understands now that it's okay to love who they are. If Frank Ocean can do it, far more eyes are on him than are on me. And it will be a struggle. This will not be easy for Frank, as it hasn't been easy for any of us. There are going to be lots of ignorant people that are going to throw foolishness at him because of said ignorance. But that's their insecurity. For any of you who are looking at this right now who may feel scared to tell your truth, understand that the hate and the negativity that you receive from people all comes from insecurity and ignorance. That's it. Anyone who truly loves who they are and has an understanding of exactly who they are and who their God is has no time to dwell on such silly things. You love someone. Good for you. May you walk in love and light and simply spread positivity to this world. That is what matters. Who you sleep with does not. Ignorance and insecurity. Smile at these people. Tell them that you'll pray for them if you're someone who does such a thing. And move about your way and go on with your life. We can no longer allow these people to feel as though they can dictate how we live. This is 2012. If you're watching this in 2030 or 2050, I'm paying taxes, but yet I'm still not treated as a human being with the same equal rights as everyone in this country. It's 2012. I'm absolutely certain that in 2030 and 2050 this has come to an end, because we're making our way there. As a black man, I know what my ancestors had to deal with. I'm only one generation removed from segregation. So if you're watching this in 2030 or 2050, know your history. Know that at this point in time, I only have a handful of states that I can get married in. But by the time you're watching this, we cover every single one. Because peace will always triumph. And it's because of people like Anderson Cooper, with the bravery that he has, and because of people like Frank Ocean, who have taken such an unbelievably brave chance with his career, that we will be able to look at you in 2050 and 2030 and say, congratulations, we have not lived in vain. I want to know what you think. Contact me on Twitter. That's at ravoceo, RAVOCEO. You can find me on Facebook under the exact same. I thank you so much for checking in with me for this Free Your Mind. Until next time, spread love, spread peace, and shine bright. Love who you are as I love you. Namaste.